I'm just turning on Facebook Live. Hello, everyone. Hope everyone's having a fabulous Friday. Welcome to this live training, how to step up your side hustle today. Now, this is for you if you have a side hustle and you're looking to go from, one income per month to another. This is also for you if you don't have a side hustle but are wanting one. Hey, Kels. And you've been wanting one for a while, whatever the case may be. This is for driven 20 or 30 somethings or 40 somethings that, want to make more money out of their 9 to 5. They want to be entrepreneurs. They want to leverage the internet, and they're just looking to go to that next level. Who isn't? I've got some tips for you. So if you're watching this live, I'd love to hear where you're tuning in from. And if you're watching the replay, then please go ahead and comment replay below and let me know where you're tuning in from. And I'd also love to hear if you have a side hustle or if you don't. And if you don't, what's stopping you? Do you have any questions? Do you already have a struggle you're going through that you'd like me to talk about? Because I'd be happy to do so. And even if this is later on, go ahead and let me know, and I will come back and re-comment on it. So let me know if you have a side hustle, what it is, and what your goals are, and if there's something standing in your way. And I also just want to point out that as I'm going to go through some of the things that might be holding you back from getting to a higher level or a higher income, this doesn't necessarily mean that these things that are holding you back are inherently wrong. It just depends on the time or place you're at in your business and with your goals. But I want to support you in making sure that you're not going through anything that might be holding you back unnecessarily. That's the last thing I'd want. And so before we go into all of that, I just want to explain a little bit about who I am and why I am here explaining this all to you. So my name is Leah. I'm the founder of urban20something.com. I am a business coach for young professionals all around the world that are starting online businesses around their 9 to 5 jobs and creating products and services that earn them money while they are at work. So it's a very exciting thing to do. It's a very exciting time to be in this sort of area of work, because now with the internet and social media and everything we have, the ability to scale what it is that you do or what you sell or anything like that is, better than ever before. And so I'm really all about taking advantage of that. Let me switch this. Let's see if that helps. A little better. Okay, great. Anyway, I started my website about 2 years ago, and it was indeed a side hustle. At the time, I was working as a paralegal at a law firm here in New York. I live in New York City. And I was really unsatisfied with my job, which was not a great sign for me because I had been applying to law school. And in fact, I started Urban 20-something right as I was having to decide whether or not I was going to go to law school. And up until that point, law school had really been a lifelong plan of mine. It had always been what I wanted to do. And like I said, I was working at a law firm, so the idea of doing anything else was very, very scary to me. I started my website never knowing it was going to turn into what it was. I did not really know the power of starting an online business or starting a side hustle. I had, sort of heard and seen online some bloggers that were really killing it, but I didn't really know anything about that and didn't really think that that was what was going to happen to me or anything like that. Really, I just started it because I wanted to see if I could freelance or make a little bit of extra money, and I was, at the time, deciding that I was not going to go to law school, that I had no idea what I was going to do instead. So I thought that if I started this website and sort of documented what I was about to do, then that could help other 20-somethings or 30-somethings that were in a similar situation where they felt unfulfilled at work and they weren't sure what to do next, and maybe they had a plan all along, but that plan it didn't end up being what they really wanted to do anymore. I know our generation has so many problems with student debt and all of that kind of thing, so I really knew how important it was to let people know that there are other options other than going back to graduate school to make more money. I wasn't sure what they were going to be yet. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but I just knew I couldn't be alone, and I felt a duty to share my story with other people in case they also had been in similar situations or would find themselves there. So I started my website, and for about, I could go on and on, but long story short, for about a year, it really was just sort of a for fun blog. And I ended up not going to law school. I ended up quitting my job. I ended up traveling for 4 months by myself throughout Southeast Asia, which was incredible. And my blog was there for me to write about that. And I, wrote down like what it's like to travel throughout Cambodia alone, and how to make friends while traveling and things like that. And that's really what it started out as. But then I started realizing that I could make money online. That's when I really started. And I started out for me by freelance writing. And so then I started writing on my blog about how I was getting freelance writing jobs while I was away, and how I was able to make money as sort of a digital nomad, which I didn't, that kind of fell into my lap. I didn't even really know that that was what was going to happen to me. But it was really in line with my original purpose of starting Urban 20-something, which was to share with others how I was sort of going through this unpaved path. And as I said, I figured that other people would want to hear what I was doing, because they might also, have felt like they didn't know what they wanted to do with their life, or they might have felt like they wanted to travel, or they might have felt like they wanted to learn to make money online. And so now that's what was happening to me. And I thought that I really needed to share this in case other people wanted to also travel or wanted to quit their job or anything like that. So that has been the mission since the beginning. And it's just taken all these different shapes and forms as I've learned new things, and as I've really created a business around my 9-to-5 job that now makes me more than I make at my 9-to-5 job. In fact, this month I'm on track to triple what I make at my 9-to-5 job. And so it's been incredible, and I'm so, so grateful for this journey. And I love what I do. What's most important is I really do feel like I am living out that initial purpose of sharing, to other people that you don't have to go to graduate school if that's not what you want. You can travel if that's what you want. You can make money online if that's what you want. You can make money around your 9-to-5 job. All these things are really possible. And the best part, the most exciting part about it all for me is that it's not even really just about making extra money, but seeing my life transform as a result of starting this side business has been the most fulfilling part. And that's what I do with my clients now, is work not only to help them create other sources of income, but the transformation that they undergo is just so moving and inspiring to see, because it really is about kind of taking your own power back. And especially for women, women are making more money than ever before, because we're building these multiple streams of income at a young age, and sometimes they're even passive streams of income, or all those sorts of options that we have like never before. It's extremely exciting, and it can just do so much for your life. It can allow you to travel and make money from anywhere in the world. It can allow you to, buy a house or an apartment sooner than you thought. It can allow you to live somewhere that you might not have thought you'd be able to, or pay back your student loans really earlier. And there's so many things that you can do with these possibilities. And that's what I love about it, and that's why I do what I do, and that's why I'm so excited to be here with you today to talk about some of the things that might be holding you back from really making those quantum leaps of your own, or maybe whatever is holding you back from a goal that you have, or maybe you don't even really feel like you're being held back, but once you start thinking about why you might not be further along, hopefully we can break through some of that as well. So before we go into that specifically, I did a little math before I hopped on here with you guys, and I'm wondering if anyone could tell me what the significance of 273 is. I'll take a sip of water while anyone might type and guess. No one? Okay, it's okay. So you would need to make $273 today and every day to be a 6-figure side hustler. That's how much money you need to make every day to make at least $100,000 a year. Now, to you, that might not sound like very much, or maybe you're kind of already there, or maybe you're really far from that. Maybe you're making like $273 a month, which I did for a while, or maybe you haven't even started a side hustle, and there's all these reasons that are standing in your way of making this a reality for you. Whatever the case, I hope that, seeing this and understanding that there's no reason that you can't be making that, and that you can't be bringing in that money every day, and that you can't be making 6 figures around your 9-to-5 job, helps you, get inspired to bring yourself to whatever that next level is, or whatever the next goal for you is, or whatever that next push is, because that really is the reality, is that there should be no problem or no reason that you can't be making 6 figures from your side business. There's just going to be a couple things I encourage you to think about before you sort of might go in that direction, or maybe you're already there and still I think these things are important to think about. So with that, let's dive into what might be holding you back and how to change that. So first off, hey Haley, good to see you all. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. If anyone has any questions, feel free to let me know. I'm just going to start diving into what might be holding you back. So the first thing that might be holding you back from being a 6-figure side hustler is if you haven't started your side hustle. And I don't mean that in a, guilt kind of way or anything like that. But a lot of times I hear people say that they have an idea for one, or that they're meaning to start one, or they want to start one, but they just haven't yet. And there's usually a whole list of reasons for this, and they vary from person to person, and they're not unreasonable or not understandable at all. A lot of times people say that they don't have their idea nailed down, and they want to be really sure about what it is that they're going to do. Other people say they don't have the money to start a side business, and that they thought starting a side hustle was supposed to make them money, not spend money. Some people think that they need to learn how to code and make a whole website on their own. Some people think that they just don't have the time right now. There's so many different reasons. But the truth is, until you actually start your side hustle, you're never going to make money from your side hustle. And it's not always easy. It's not always the way we exactly want it to be, but it is so worth it. And if you are, doing anything in life that is bringing you to a new level, or is bringing something new in your life, or is changing something for you, if it's transforming your income or your reality or any of that list, it's going to feel a little bit weird at first, because it means you're growing, you're doing something new. I think about, just think about any time that you've done something new or pushed yourself to grow in any way in life. It's always a little bit uncomfortable at first. I know when I'm like one of those people that I have all these millions ideas for these crazy big things I want to do, and then I'll do it, and during the first little bit of time, it's like really uncomfortable for me. I don't usually have trouble starting, but I can get really uncomfortable once I've started. Like when I went to college, it was really hard for the first couple of weeks, because I moved all the way across the country and I didn't know anyone, and I knew it was the right thing for me. I was moving to New York City, which is my favorite place in the world, and I've lived here for 8 years now. But at first, even though I knew in the long run it would be good for me, it was not easy, and it was scary, and there were times where I thought that I shouldn't be doing this, and why was I bothering? Things weren't all that bad beforehand. Why was I doing this big change? It's the same thing with starting a business or a side hustle or anything like that. It's going to feel weird. It might feel scary to spend money on a domain or a website. It might feel intimidating to put yourself out there on a website and not know how people will react to it. You might feel like you're not totally ready to do it. But the truth is, if you want to do this, and if you want to transform your reality, and you want to make extra money, you kind of have to push through those awkward beginning phases. If you just continue doing, what you do, and you continue wanting to feel the way you feel, then you're going to live the way you've always lived. There's going to be no change. So you have to take that first step. And no, for me, it's not about waiting until it's not scary, or waiting until you have the money, or waiting until everything's perfect. It's about doing it anyway, even though those things aren't right. Those things are never going to add up for you. It's just the reality. You have to keep your eye on what you're going for and simply start. Now, a couple things to remember, and we'll get more into this with some of the other things, but when I'm talking about starting a side hustle or a side business here, it truly means a business. And so I used to really blog about all things side hustle, and I still think all things side hustle are great, because I just think it's so great for young professionals or anyone to make extra money, who can live on one stream of income these days. But you are not going to reach financial freedom or security if you, by walking dogs. It's just the reality. And I think you should still walk dogs. I love dogs. But, what we're talking about here is building real wealth and building multiple sources of income and doubling the money that you make at your 9-to-5 job and things like that. So it does take that mentality shift of thinking of things from a business point of view instead of a side hustle or a side hobby point of view. And there's nothing wrong with that, other point of view. It's just really being the person that differentiates the two and setting yourself up for success in doing so. So that's sort of the first, I kind of digress a little bit there. But the first point should really be that, you do need to just start. And know that when you do start a business, when you start a website, when you have a mission, when you have a product, when you have social media accounts, anything like that, they're going to change and evolve over time. So take the pressure off yourself to have everything figured out beforehand, to have everything perfect, to have anything professional. You don't need to. The reality is, all that matters is that you start sooner. You can always go back and edit things. You can always change things as you go. And in fact, you will. No matter how perfect you think your website might be, right when you push launch at the beginning, you're going to change things anyway. So you might as well try to get it out there sooner, learn more about building a website, learn more about what you like, learn more about what other people are responding to, and then adjust and course correct from there. That's how you're going to really learn as you grow. That's how you're going to be more flexible as an entrepreneur, and that's how you're going to be more successful. So tip one is to just start. And it kind of kind of leads me into tip 2 here, which a lot of people feel held back, whether they've actually started or whether they're wanting to launch something new or create something new, is they don't feel like they're ready. And so I want you to really realize that you are ready. If you're anything like I was when I started, and like I still am a little bit, I have to fight through this a bit, but you know, are used to having really good grades before you applied to college and studying really hard before a test and having really good recommendations and a perfect cover letter before you apply to a job. And even at your job, you know, you wait until you're really, really qualified for things, or, you know, really doing great before you ask for a raise or you ask for a promotion or anything like that. In other words, you're probably really, really used to waiting until you're ready to take the next step. And so I just want to support you right now in reminding you that whatever it is that you are thinking of doing next or that you know might help you grow, you are ready right now. And I'm going to tell you a little story of how this applied to me and how it changed everything to me, or for me. But you know, especially any women out there watching this, women in particular usually don't do things as quickly as men, or they don't get successful as quickly as men because they especially wait until they're very, very ready. It's just sort of how, you know, society or whatever it is has kind of trained us to think. So we really, really wait until we're ready, and we lose opportunities as a result. So I want to encourage you and remind you that whatever it is that you're thinking of doing, if you're thinking of starting a website, if you want to open an Instagram platform, if you want to, you know, write a book or whatever it is, you are ready to do it now. And I want to explain to you a story that really changed everything for me and took my blog from a blog to what really made it a business. So when I was in Southeast Asia and I was learning about freelancing and everything else like that, I was so intoxicated by the power of the internet. I thought it was so incredible, and I knew pretty quickly that I was onto something, and that this was something that really excited me and lit me up, and that it was going to change my life. However, the people I really saw out there, you know, in my eyes, they had so many credentials, really, really impressive stuff going. And so I thought maybe I should take an online course in digital marketing, or maybe I should take 1,000,000 courses and learn how to do Facebook ads, and that could be my online business. Or, you know, maybe I should learn graphic design, and then that's what I could do. I was really excited about all these different ways to make money online, but I thought I wasn't qualified for any of them because I didn't think that I was any of those very, you know, traditional qualifications. And I thought that that's kind of what it took because my brain was so just programmed that way. And so what switched for me and what actually helped me make a business was when I took what had already happened to me and monetized that. And so what I did was, when I was in Southeast Asia, I decided to start applying for jobs back in New York City. I wanted to come back to New York. But I was living in Asia, and I, you know, didn't have a New York City address, and I had been gone, and I had a gap in my resume. I had all these things working against me while I was in Southeast Asia. But I knew I needed to get a job in New York, and so I did a lot of research, and I tried really hard, and I did a lot of things really right, and I had actually no trouble getting another job back in New York. And so, but it wasn't just sort of like luck. I really did a lot of research into how to stand out online, how to cold email people, how to network while you're away, you know, how to explain gaps in your resumes, like really, really did my specific experience. I learned what to do. And so, and it worked, and I got, you know, all these job offers and interviews while I was living in Bangkok, and was able to come back to New York in that way. And it was so exciting, and I was so relieved. And I knew right away that this was the kind of thing I really needed to use my website to get the word out about. Because if I had known 4 months before, if I had known when I was at my law firm, if I had known when I was staying up all night in Cambodia, you know, crying, worried about how I'd ever get another job in my life, I would have been so much more relaxed. I would have lost so much less sleep. I would have had so much more, you know, been able to live in the moment so much more. And that was so important to me. So I definitely had those fears of thinking, well, I can't teach this to other people because just because this worked out for me, I'm not an HR professional. I didn't go to school for business. I don't know anything about the hiring process. Like, I don't think that anyone would listen to me. Even though I know what I did worked and I know I could help people do it, I did not feel qualified because I was so used to thinking that I needed to have a degree or 5 years of work experience or anything else to teach something like this. So I actually kind of like sought out help about it, and I started talking to other entrepreneurs online, people that made digital products and did teaching and things like that online. And they really helped me realize that I had it all wrong. And so I want to help, I want to share with you what they said in case you think like that as well. It is not about having a degree or 5 years of work experience. It's actually going to be beneficial for the person you want to help if you just went through something similar, or you just kind of came out of that transition on your own, because you're going to remember more what it was like to struggle through that. You're going to be able to relate to your client or customer more than, someone like, for me, I was nervous about teaching this information, and I thought that I needed to be an HR professional to teach about hiring or anything like that. But in fact, I think that the people that bought my e-course, which is what I ended up doing, I ended up making an e-course on how to apply for a job, while you've had a career gap or while you've been traveling or anything like that, how to stand out online. And I think that actually, if it had been an HR professional talking about it or anything like that, then people that would have bought that would have felt like they did not connect to that person at all. They would have felt like this person might have a textbook answer to, their situation, but didn't go through it on their own. And I actually was the perfect person to teach that. So I want to encourage that with you as well. If you have something that you've gone through, or you have a message you want to share, or you have something that excites you, or something that you've learned, anything like that, and you know that you could help other people learn it, especially if you just kind of recently learned it, then you are so ready to move forward with starting your website, with creating a new course, with creating a product, with starting with coaching, starting consulting, anything like that. You do not need all these degrees. And so I really just want to show you that you are perfect as you are right now. You are ready as you are right now. And there's never been a better time to move forward with whatever it is you have to offer right now. So I encourage you to do so, and hope that that can help push you past any fear you might be having about starting something or launching something new. Okay. The next thing that might be holding you back is, I touched on this a little bit, but it's so important that I want to remind you of it, is to remember that you are starting a business. You are not starting a hobby. And so if you treat this like you treat a hobby, then you are going to get results like a hobby. So if you're only ever working on your side hustle, or your side business, as I would rather call it, when you feel like it, or when you have spare time, or when you have the extra money, then you're going to get similar results. But instead, if you sort of think of this thing as something that you are giving your all to, and really getting off the ground, and knowing that the most work is at the beginning and it gets easier after that, and you make more money after that, then that's really going to shift everything, and that's going to mirror the results you're going to get. So really often I hear people, see my story or reach out to me and say that they would love to start a side hustle, but they don't have the money to do it right now. This is one of the biggest things. They think that they are starting a side hustle because they want to make extra money, and it doesn't make sense to them to first spend more money. And I get it. Look, I was that girl for so long, for almost a year, until I made this e-course. And I'll get more about how that changed in a second. But I totally understand not wanting to spend money when you are really only interested in starting a side hustle because you want to get rid of your student loans, or because you want to be able to have more fun on the weekends, or because you want to add more to your savings. So it doesn't make sense to you to, spend money to build a website, or money to hire someone that knows what they're talking about, or money on an e-course that could help get you going, or anything like that. But in fact, you're going to actually spend a lot more money in the long run if you don't sort of invest in yourself from the get-go and learn how to do things right. And I was like the #1 victim of this, and this is why I'm so passionate about this, because the first year of running Urban 20-something was interesting and fun, but it was honestly really hard. And I know exactly why that was. It was because for the first year, I didn't really get any guidance. I wanted to do everything on my own. I didn't want to spend money on a coach. I didn't want to spend money on e-courses. I thought that, once I made money, then I would be happy to reinvest it. But until then, I thought that it was irresponsible of me to spend money, lots of money, on people that I thought could really help me, because I thought I had student loans and I should be saving, and I didn't want to be irresponsible. I was very, very concerned about being irresponsible. However, this was not something I was spending money on that was a hobby, right? It's not like I was spending money on a vacation I couldn't afford, or a designer piece of clothing that I couldn't afford. I was investing in my future. And it took me literally a year to figure this out. It took me a year of having inconsistent income, wondering what I was doing wrong, feeling like maybe I wasn't even meant for this, maybe I didn't really have what it took. And, beyond not getting any money during that year, it also did a number on my self-confidence. There were definitely times where I thought that I just wasn't good enough, or that this wasn't going to work out for me, or that other people had figured out something that I hadn't. And that wasn't the case. Really, the only issue was I hadn't really switched my mindset to treating this as a business and not a hobby. Therefore, I hadn't invested in myself. I hadn't, spent the real time that I needed on it. And so how was I supposed to figure out how to make money? How was I supposed to figure out how to build a website? How was I supposed to figure out how to market? You're not born into knowing these things. It's just like going to business school. People pay $50,000 to go to business school, and I was so shook up about spending a couple $1,000s on mentorship or something like that could teach me how to do something that there's no reason that I would have known how to do it on my own. And so the same goes for you. If you are feeling like, you know that you have what it takes to start a website, and that you have what it takes to start a side business, and you want to make more money, and you want to start that impact, but things just aren't happening, it has nothing to do with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You are actually in a great position, because you know that you have an idea, you know that you have a goal, and you know that you have a desire. And really all it's going to take is a little bit of extra learning on your part from people that have done that before and done it well, and expedite your success in that way. You do not want to be playing this guessing game. That is a road to no money, burnout, and low self-confidence. And it's just, it'll make you think things that aren't true. It can make you think that you're, like I said, that you're not good enough, or that you're doing something wrong, and just none of that's true. So I really encourage you to, make sure that you're treating your business like a business, and that you're spending time on it. And, you don't have to spend 40 hours a week on it. You really don't. And this is what I really help my clients do, is make sure that they are not sacrificing their entire 20s building this side business. It's really important to me that people still have work-life balance and things like that. So it's not about spending all your time on it, but it is about treating the time that you schedule out for it like a business meeting, and not breaking it, not making plans during it, not putting it to the last resort when you get too tired or too busy with other things to do it. And then the same goes with investing in it. It's so important to make sure that you treat it like a business, so you're getting the education you need to know how to run a business. You are getting the materials and the supplies and software that you need to run a business. And though, it can be uncomfortable to spend money on this at first, it's also important to remember that there's incredibly low overhead for starting an online business. You don't need to get an office. You don't need to get staff yet. You don't need to have any physical, products that you're selling or production or anything like that. So it's just really that mindset switch. Oh, thank you so much for your sweet comment. I'm so glad you're tuning in. Let me know if you have any questions. But really, that's what it's about, is just a mindset shift. And then, when you look at it that way, it doesn't really get scary to spend money on yourself anymore, because you realize that the only reason it can be nerve-wracking to begin with is because you might not believe in your own ability to make it back. And so once you have that confidence, and once you know that you have an idea, that you are driven, that you're going to make this work, it no longer feels like you are being irresponsible spending money. It actually feels like you're being really responsible, because you are doing what it takes to learn to build a business and make more money. This is exactly what happened to me. I thought for so long that I couldn't spend money because I had student loans and I didn't want to be responsible. And then once I really started thinking about it differently and making sure that I was doing whatever it took to make my business grow, it was clearly the most responsible thing I could have done. That's when I paid back my student loans really early. That's when I started earning more money than I make in my 9-to-5 job. That's when things started to switch. And it all is just from a simple mindset shift. Okay, I could go on about that forever, as you can tell. I'm going to go on to the next thing. So this one's really important. And again, as I'm telling you guys all of these because I personally have suffered with all of them. So you're not alone. And I hope that, sharing my experience can give you a little bit of a behind the scenes of what I went through as well. Because even though I'm so grateful for where I've ended up and really proud, it was not an overnight success. And so I just want to share, and be transparent with you all. So the next thing you might be doing that could be stunting your growth or preventing you from becoming that 6-figure side hustler is if you are trying to do everything. If you are just starting out in the online world and you're realizing that there's so much potential, you can make courses, you can be a coach, you can have a website, you can be a blogger. It's super, super exciting, and it's also extremely overwhelming. There's so much information out there, and there's so many people that have different opinions, and a lot of times they're not wrong, but this is why it's so important to get help and get sort of mentorship mentorship because it's about figuring out what's right for you and what's going to work best for you. One of the biggest examples that comes to mind for me that I really focused when I was trying to focus on everything was when I spent a lot of time on Twitter. So when I started Urban 20-something, I was like, okay, well, I'll do the logical things. I'll start an Instagram account, I'll start a Twitter account, and I'll start a Facebook account and a Pinterest account. You know, thought that all made a lot of sense. I thought that a lot of people had those things, and I thought if I shared on those, surely my business will grow. Bada bing. And so not that simple. And Twitter is what I would say I wasted the most time on. So I got a free tool called Buffer, which I actually do love Buffer. This has nothing to do with Buffer, but it allows you to automate tweets and Instagram as well. And so I thought, oh my God, this is so great. I can automate tweets so that I can tweet 10 tweets a day for free. And, you know, then my Twitter's going to grow. My business is going to grow. I'm going to get all this traffic. This is awesome. So literally every night before bed, I would set an alarm for half an hour. And for half an hour, I'd queue up 10 tweets for the next day. And I did this for weeks until I realized that this was just not leading me anywhere. I was getting no traffic from Twitter. No one was engaging with me. And you know what? Why would they? I wasn't actually engaging with anyone on Twitter either. I was automating things, having them leak out the next day and just hope that people would, you know, come to me for traffic. So this is what I'm talking about. You know, if I had an extra half an hour a night nowadays, like I would give anything for that time back, right? But for so long, I just thought that because I saw other people doing it and because I had read some posts about how Twitter can be beneficial, then therefore I ought to be doing it and I had to be doing it all and I could automate it, like all these things. So if you're feeling that, if you're feeling really overwhelmed, just know that you're not doing anything wrong. It's great you're trying so many different things, but it's more important to focus on a couple different things and give them your all than it is to try to do everything. And on top of that, unfortunately, this sort of added complexity, but the truth is that's not even just focusing on random things, but focusing on things that really work specifically for you. And so this will vary depending on so many things, depending on where you live, depending on what it is you do, depending on your goals, depending on how much time you have. So it's really worth exploring and getting real about what to focus on. And this is why I have never, ever since then, really made mentorship a negotiable each month for me. So that comes in a variety of different capacities for me, but either being in a mastermind or having a coach or having a mentor, anything like that is always so important to me because those are the kinds of people that can help me stay on track with what I need to do and make sure that I'm not going all over the place. Because if you are doing all these, you know, free things and Googling everything and YouTube videos, it can drive you a little bit crazy and you might not know where to focus and it will stunt your growth. So that can be another one as well. I mean, yeah, I could go on and on about that. The things that I've, you know, bought, even like books I've bought to learn how to do something that I've never even opened. And it's because I got really serious about focusing on like 2 things at a time and never anything else. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to just sort of ask if you're doing, and maybe if not, it could be a reason that your growth is a little bit stunted, is to ask yourself if you're really helping people. So something that people come to me a lot and say is that they see what I've done and they also love Instagram and maybe they follow some fashion bloggers and they think, I want to start an online business and I want to be a blogger and I want to do a travel blog or I want to do a fashion blog and can you help me build that? And the answer is yes, of course. There are tons of people out there making a killing being fashion bloggers or travel bloggers or food bloggers or whatever, you know, what have you. So it's definitely possible. But for the most part, what you're going to see better results with and what you're going to see safer results with and what you're going to see faster results with is making sure that you are producing content that's truly helping people in a transformative way. So while fashion blogs can be inspirational, and sure that is a form of help. I mean, I have fashion blogs I read every single day. I love them. But it's not always or as easily or as obviously walking someone through a transformation that can change their life. And that really can make all the difference. I mean, that's what people pay for, right? And so when you're just focusing on blogging or Instagram or anything like that, you're mostly relying to make your money on affiliate posts, sponsored posts, things like that. And it takes a long time to build up a sort of traffic and engagement and followers and all of that to actually get companies to want to do that for you. And it doesn't mean you can't. I totally encourage you to if that's what you want. But if you're looking to make money in a little bit of a faster way, you're looking to make more money, you're looking to diversify your income, then I really suggest looking at what you can do to help people go from point A to point B. And this is not, niche specific. This can certainly still be in those travel, fashion, food, whatever sort of niches. I'm working with one of my clients right now who's a vegan coach. She's amazing. But see, the difference here is that instead of just writing about vegan things that she does or like her life, she's really, really helping and coaching people that want to be vegans, but they don't know how, or they're hungry, or they don't understand the diet, or they think that they can't really bulk up in it. And so she's really providing them with a value. So I invite you and encourage you to continually ask yourself, how are you helping people? What transformation are you providing them? How can you package that transformation into a book or into a course or into coaching or into consulting, things like that? And when you're thinking about packaging your own products or services and things like that, the reason I said that this is also a safer way is because that's your asset. That is 100% from you, produced by you, and it is 100% your income. Whereas if you're constantly relying on all your income coming from other companies sponsoring you or other companies' affiliate links from you, then you're relying on that other company. And if they go out of business, or if they fold, or if they can't afford you for any reason, it's just a little bit shakier. And again, this isn't a hard and fast rule. There are a lot of people that do this really successfully and make plenty of money. But when I see people just starting out and they're wanting to make that money and they're getting really excited about the potential, and they think that that's all there is to it, that can be a reason that your growth is stunted or that you might not be in the place that you want to be. Okay, next up, are you really putting yourself out there? So you heard my Twitter chronicle. I talked about how I thought I was putting myself out there with Twitter. I was tweeting 10 things a day and retweeting other people. And I was like, I'm marketing. What's the deal? I'm using social media. Isn't that what everyone, says you should do? Why aren't I getting any traction and things like that? So, but I wasn't really putting myself out there when I got real. And so there's a lot of layers to this, and I could do a whole Facebook Live just on this. Maybe I will in a bit. But the idea is that, are you being vulnerable? Are you showing people who you are? If you aren't really honest about who you are and, your story and why you're here and stuff like that, then you're going to have a harder time standing out online and getting people to connect with you. And if people don't really connect with you or they don't know who you are, then they're not really going to trust you. And I don't know about you, but I don't like really buying things from people that I don't trust. I guess I shouldn't say I don't like it, but I would always rather give my money to someone that I knew and that I trusted and that I resonated with. And so if you're not really showing up and, putting yourself out there in that way, then you're going to have those same obstacles. And look, it's scary. It is scary. And so I want to share this point because I want you to know that you're not alone in feeling nervous if that's how you feel. As you can probably tell by me talking right now, I'm not a very shy person. I'm pretty outgoing, but I'm still a little bit of an introvert, and I have struggled a lot along the way with putting myself out there. It is not always the easiest thing to put pictures of yourself on Instagram where anyone can say mean things about it. It is not always the easiest thing to send out an email to people that you don't know and they can email you back and tell you what they think about you and things like that. So I understand the hesitancy that can come with it and some of the fear, but it's so worth it to do so, because for every fear that you might have or person that might not connect with you by putting yourself out there, there's going to be someone that will. And that's the whole point of this. This goes back to the who are you trying to help, and how can you really help them if you're not able to show who you are and how you can help and things like that. So I encourage you. Oh, hi Sarah, thanks for tuning in. I encourage you to be really vulnerable if you can. And there's going to be different levels of this depending on what it is that you want to do and who you want to help and how you want to show up and things like that. If you're building a personal brand, then you want to get really as transparent as possible, but that's not always the case. Nonetheless, I really encourage you to reassess how much you're putting yourself out there. And if you're trying to use different marketing tools, if you are using social media, are you networking? Do you tell people in person about what it is that you do? Have you emailed your friends and family and let them know that you are starting a side hustle and you're really excited about it and you'd love to see what they think, or if they know anyone that could help you? Like, there's a whole list of ways that you can put yourself out there that a lot of times we sort of brush over. And for me, when I really looked at that closer, it's usually been because I was afraid to really do it. But it is so important. Okay, my next point is a little bit more sentimental and personal, but the question is, are you being kind to yourself? So it's so important not to beat ourselves up all the time. And I'm guilty of this, and a lot of people I've worked with are guilty of this too. And we think that, we need to be reaching these certain goals or these certain milestones, and if we're not doing it right. Or if we're not doing things as quickly as someone else, then therefore we're doing it wrong. And so I encourage you to try to be kinder to yourself, because that alone can really stunt your growth. If you're only focusing on what you think that you haven't achieved or what you haven't accomplished or what you haven't done right, then, you might just say, well, I'm going to sit out tonight and I'm not going to do anything because I'm not doing well anyway. Or you might exude that energy to other people, and then they're going to believe that as well. Or you might just keep yourself from moving forward because your confidence has then been shot. So really, really be nice to yourself. Recognize that what you're even trying to do is amazing, even if you're just starting out or even if you're just considering it. It's honestly more than most people do in their life. You are not just trying to, start to make extra money or anything like that. Like, there's so much more to it than that. You are trying to take control of your life. You are trying to, change something for yourself. You're trying to earn more money for yourself. You're trying to set an example for other people. Like, it's extremely, extremely powerful. And so continuing to recognize the amazingness of what you're doing and not letting yourself, get hung up on or dwell in where you might not be at this point or what you might not have accomplished or anything like that is super important as well. So I encourage you to continue to make sure you're being kind to yourself and thinking of things in the right way. And, reward yourself. So important every step along the way to just appreciate what you've done and appreciate how far you've come. If you just buy a domain, that's something that you should celebrate and go drink a glass of champagne to or something like that. If you set your website live, that's something also to celebrate. You don't need to be making six figures before you celebrate anything. Like, you should be celebrating every little milestone along the way. It makes the journey so much more fun. You'll get there faster. And it's really the whole point of the whole thing is to enjoy the journey. It's really what it is all about. Okay, so that is my list right now of things that might be holding you back from getting to where you want to go. And I'm just going to, without going on and on and on about, how to conquer each one of those, because there's a whole list, I'm kind of distilling it into one real, maybe core reason behind any of those holding you back right now. And it really all boils down to fear of so many different things. And fear can mask itself in a lot of different ways. You might not really realize that you're afraid right now. So it can mask itself as perfectionism. I see this all the time. My boyfriend is like this especially. He and a lot of other people want to wait until things are extremely perfect before they, do anything, or before they move forward with anything, or before they email anything, or put themselves out there. And as we all know, perfect doesn't exist. And often what I'll see is people will wait for things to be perfect. Someone else will do their idea in the meantime, and then they'll be frustrated because not only did they wait for something that's never going to happen, but someone else kind of already did it, which that actually doesn't matter. You should kind of do your own thing anyway, even if you think that you might have competition. But the point here is that do not let perfectionism have its power. You have to see through it and know that all it is you being afraid to put yourself out there because you're afraid that someone might say something about you, or that you could put something out there that, you might not feel like totally represents you. And these fears are valid, but you have to move forward with them because they're never going to go away, and they're going to stunt your growth. I'm going to take a sip of water just 1 second. So it's extremely important to recognize your fear for what it is, whatever form it's coming in, and know that you're never really going to get rid of it. You have to just keep going. Another thing that can come up with any of these that I just went over was having a lack of self-confidence. So as I shared, it took me a long time to invest in my website and in my business because I thought that I was being responsible by not spending money doing so. I thought that I was being responsible by waiting until I had made all this money to then go ahead and invest. But really what that was my own fear that I wouldn't be able to make that money back. And so, as I shared, when I really started making money and things started shifting for me and going from just like a blog to something I was able to monetize and start making income from, is when I created that e-course. But I got real with myself about what I needed to do that. I realized that I do not know how to make an e-course. I did not know how to make a sales page. I did not know how to build an email list to sell it to. I didn't know how to use social media. And so I hired someone. Her name is Amber. She might be watching this if she is. She was amazing and extremely influential and helpful, and a pivot in my journey. And working with her and realizing the investment I saw pretty much immediately on my return made me realize that I was using responsibility as a mask for what really just was fear, and what was making me think that I didn't have the ability to do this, when of course I did. I just thought that, what if I fail? But you have to move past that, because if you don't, then no one will. And something that is so important to me, this is really personal what I'm going to share, and I encourage you to do this too, but you have to make your decisions about starting your side business, about investing in yourself, about putting yourself out there, about publishing on social media, based on your dreams and your goals and where you want to be, and not where you are right now. And so that can sound a little fluffy. I want to explain to you exactly what I did to bring this into my life. So when I was, even now still, hi, thanks for the thumbs up. Even now still, when I make big decisions, when I'm about to spend a lot of money, or when I'm like, maybe going to go meet someone or send a scary email, when I'm afraid to do something, but I know that if I succeeded in doing it, it would bring my business to another level, and it would make me feel really proud and make me feel like I was achieving my goals. I literally have a vision board. It's a Google Doc, but I have a Google Doc, and it has all these pictures of women that I look up to, like my very biggest career role models. And I go and I look at it and I think, okay, what would they do in this situation? What would they think about spending $5,000 on a entrepreneurship program? For me, Leah, like, that is scary. That's a lot of money. That made me think that I was being irresponsible. But then I went and looked at these people, and I thought they would not think twice about doing something that they knew could get them closer to their dreams. And in fact, they probably did things very similar to that. Same thing if I, want to apply for something, like maybe an interview or something like that, or I want to do something different, or I want to, brand my website in a new way. Like, they still get scary for me, but this is not about where I am right now. I have to make the decisions for my biggest goals and my biggest dreams. And so literally what I've done to support myself in doing that, and you can come up with your own way, but I truly go and look at the women that I look up to and think, what would they do in this situation? And I make my decision based on what I think they would do, or what I think, if my dream came true, what I would think then at that point. Because if you only make decisions from where you are right now and what you've done so far in life and what you've known so far in life, then you're only going to get the results that you've already gotten so far in life. It takes guts. It takes doing something different. It takes thinking about things differently. And it takes taking risks. But that's why, you're trying to get ahead. That's why a lot of people don't even begin to do this. They don't even want to start a business, or they don't even think about it, or they don't even bother trying because they're so afraid of moving forward or failing or anything like that. So just recognizing that that's where your fears are coming from, and then moving forward with them anyway, is literally going to make the difference between the people that don't make it and the people that do. It's like a muscle. It's something that you have to continually exercise, and the better you get at it, the easier it's going to be, the more risks you're going to take, the bigger leaps you're going to take, and the more results and the more success you're going to see. So as you can see, I'm extremely passionate about this, and I could go on and on about moving past fear. And it is a very personal topic. It's going to depend on the person and what they are afraid of and what makes them feel uncomfortable and how they can think about things. But I hope that sharing what I've done and what I still do to move past fear, my embarrassing little Google Doc story, then that can kind of help you think about what might work for you as well, and how you can move past your fear as well. Because really investing in yourself, making these quantum leaps, putting yourself out there, is so, so worth it. Just think of what's on the other side. Once you really can only think of that, and once you've experienced it, you'll just wonder why you really ever even hesitated. Okay, so that is my list with you guys. And before we go, I want to just share an exciting announcement about a great opportunity for those of you that are really looking to do this work. You're really looking to move to your bigger goals. The idea of having that six-figure side hustle really excites you, and you want to just make this happen. You're sick of waiting. You're done waiting for things to get good, or waiting for you to be ready, or waiting for the right time, and you are just motivated and ready to go. Then I am so excited to share with you that right now I have a very limited opportunity. Only 5 people are available I will only be available to do this with 5 different people. And it is a 90-day one-on-one program where you can completely expedite your side hustle success. So I'm talking going, you don't have to have a side hustle have started yet. You just need to know that you're going to do this and that you really want to do it, and that you're not going to wait to do it anymore, and that you're going to do it right, and that you want to learn from the best, and you want to learn from people that know what they're talking about, and you don't want to spend time guessing. And collapsing, basically what took me a year and a half, of getting my business to where it is now, within about a 90-day period. So this is for people that want to, work really hard, who are no longer going to wait, and who are really excited about this huge opportunity to start a business around your 9-to-5 job, to no longer accept your reality of being able to not pay back your student loans, or say you can't afford it, or say that, things just aren't working out the way you wanted to, like bagging all of that and completely going for things and taking this incredible opportunity and things into your control to transform things for you. You can do it. I know you can do it. It just takes a little bit of guidance and a little bit of work, and together we can make that happen for you. So within this 90-day period, what you get is a weekly call with me for an hour every single week at the same time. And we do this via Zoom, so I can look at your computer and I can look at what you're setting up with your website and everything like that. And we'll record everything so you can always reference back to it. You get access to all of my e-courses and all of my group program materials, which is worth, thousands and thousands of dollars on their own. And you'll get access to all of that. You have unlimited email access to me. It's it's a really, really great opportunity to have this really personalized support to get extremely expedited results. So I encourage you to, invest in yourself and do this, and make this your time. Make this an exciting time for you, and see your dreams come true. See what you're capable of, and see your financial and otherwise reality take shape. So if you're interested in this, I'll go ahead and drop the link right now below the Facebook video to book a call with me. And even if you're not, totally sure, that's totally fine. We can just chat. I would love to hear about your side hustle or anything that you are up to, or any questions that you might have. And see if I can support you in any way. It's totally free, half-hour call with me, and we can go from there. So in Facebook, the link is right below this video. On Instagram, if you just want to DM me, then I can set up a call with you that way. But no matter what, I hope that you found this video valuable and that you feel motivated to take your own side hustle goals to the next level. And know that we're here for you. My community is all about, taking things seriously and making things happen quickly for you and getting results. So either I will talk to you on the phone, or I will talk to you next time. Either way, happy Summer Friday. I hope you guys all have an awesome weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.